Hey everybody, I'm Rob with Anderson Barbecue Supply. Thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to be talking about two-zone cooking, so let's get right into it. Now, maybe you've done something like this before, or maybe something like this. I know on some of my gas grills I have, you're definitely more apt to it on a gas grill than you are on a charcoal grill, but also the whole purpose of two-zone cooking is so that you can get some nice char on your food, and then you can bring it up to temp on the other side of the grill. So you hit that perfect temperature point that you're looking for, whether you're cooking chicken, steaks, burgers, pork chops, what have you. Now with two-zone cooking, you definitely want a hot side of your grill and you want a cool side of your grill. Typically to me, that means when I'm cooking like this, my hot side is going to be really hot charcoal. It's going to be searing up towards 700-800 degrees, and then that cool side is going to be much cooler because there's no coals directly under that food. So some of the tools we use to do that are some simple baskets. These are a couple charcoal baskets that come with some Weber Kettle grills. Usually what I'll do is I'll fill these up with charcoal. These will go together like this on one side of my grill, and that's going to be my hot zone. Now, another tool is this vortex. Now, this is kind of a ring of metal, basically, and this goes in the center of your grill, and you can fill this center part with charcoal, and then around the outside, you're getting that cool zone. Another tool we have is a charcoal basket here, and it's simply that. It's something you dump your charcoal in. You can put this on the left side of your grill, the right side of the grill. You can put it in the center if your grill is big enough as well. And then another tool we have is no basket at all. It's actually nothing. If you don't have a basket like this, it doesn't mean you can't do two-zone cooking. You absolutely can. What you're going to want to do is just bank your charcoal to one side of your grill so you have your hot side and your cool side. And then finally, what I don't have an example here of is what we can do is if this is our grill height right here, we can have an elevated rack so that your food is even further away from that heat source, which kind of in a way is two-zone cooking as well. Now I'll show you some photos here. We have the Weber baskets. That's the first thing we talked about. You can slightly offset them as well if you want to. And then we have the vortex here. In this photo, it has the charcoal in the middle. That's going to be your hot zone for searing a steak. And then the outside, this white zone, is going to be your cool zone. Now the vortex does some pretty cool things too with chicken wings and helping heat go up and around and getting crispy skin on chicken. So that's a whole nother video we're going to do later down the road. Now this is what that vortex looks like with the grate on top of it. You can see that you have that outer ring all the way around it. Some other grills that we have here at Anderson Barbecue Supply, we have this PK Go. This is a much smaller grill, and even on this one I would bank my charcoal to one side. The next up is the Aaron Franklin PK300. Again, bank your charcoal to one side. And then we have the PK360, which is Portable Kitchen's biggest charcoal grill. This one I have the basket in the bottom, and that's what I would use to fill my charcoal with. So again, you have a hot side and a cool side. And then finally we have the Santa Maria grill, which is pretty cool. Now, typically when I'm cooking on this, if I'm cooking a lot of stuff, I'll actually just fill this whole thing with charcoal. And the cool thing about the Santa Maria grill from Crank It Up Grills is that you can crank this grill grate up so it's getting further and further away from the heat. So it's not typical two-zone cooking, but it's something to consider. It's just a really cool additive. With this grill also, you could put a charcoal basket in here and bank your charcoal to one side so you do have that hot searing side and one side to cool. Now, I'm not just going to show you a bunch of pictures today, so we're actually going to go outside to the grill. We're going to cook up some chicken on the Weber Kettle, and I'll show you that two-zone cooking in action. Alright guys, we got our charcoal is nice and hot. So what we're going to do here, move that. I'm just going to put my two baskets here on the side of that grill. Reposition my hand on the charcoal chimney. I'm going to dump it in. Alright, now we got our hot side of the grill. So here what typically happens, I'll take my set of long tongs, set everything out, and grab my grate, set it right over the top there. Perfect, we got it right over the top. So over this side we have a nice hot grill. Over this side we have a nice cool zone. I'm gonna go grab my chicken and we'll get to cooking. All right, so one thing, once you put your grate on here, make sure that you clean it off. Make sure that it's had some time to heat up, otherwise you're not gonna get that, that nice kind of grill mark if you're looking for that. And then I'm gonna throw a little duck fat, help with that non-stick. We got our 2 chicken breasts here that I picked up from the store. I seasoned it with Saints and Sinners Competition Chicken Rub, which is a really good rub. So here, I'm just gonna put it directly over. We're gonna let that come up to temp. I'm gonna cover it. We'll come back and check on it in a couple minutes. All right, so I like some char on my chicken. And as you can see here already, we're getting some of that char. So I'm gonna come and flip these. So I have some decent char on there, which I really like. Now, one thing you might ask is, how come I'm not getting a huge flare up or anything like that? Well, it's because those chicken breasts are intact. There's no juice running down into those coals. If you were cooking burgers, or maybe even a steak or some broth, and some bratwurst that pierce the skin, you're gonna get that juice going down into the coals and you're gonna get that flare up. So today I'm not having that because the chicken breasts that I have are intact. So we're gonna let this go a couple more minutes and then I'm gonna pull it over to the other side. All right, let's give it a check. Yeah, I got some good color on the back side. So here's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna move it over to our cooler side of the grill. Now what I normally do with chicken breast too is because it's thicker on one side. If you see here on the left, it's thicker than on the front side. So I'll put that thick part towards the heat because that's gonna need to come up to temp more anyways, and it's probably gonna be a little hotter right there. So I'm gonna keep these guys right here on the grill. I'm gonna come back and temp them in a few minutes. I know they're not even close to done yet, but we want that ambient temp to help bring them up. We're gonna cover them, come back and check on them. All right guys, it's been about 12 minutes and we're gonna just check the front part of this breast here. There, we're about 150 degrees. This one's probably a little more. We're just gonna give this one a couple more minutes and then we're done. It's really that easy. We got 2 zones, right? I don't have this dripping over the fire, creating flame ups. So I'm gonna cover this back up, wait about 5 more minutes and then come back and we're gonna pull them out. All right guys, I just temped these again after a couple more minutes and we're right at about 165 degrees. If you know anything about cooking, that is the safe temp for chicken. So I'm gonna pull these off and have a little snack. Like I said, 2 zone cooking is super simple. 1 zone, 2 zone, hot, cold, sear, bring up to temp. That's all you need to remember. If you're running a gas grill at home, you can also do this. If you have 2 burners, typically if you have the space, it'd be 1 burner on, 1 burner off, left and right, hot and cold. Or if you have that back burner, you can use that too to get it further away from the heat. We talked about that earlier in the video. If you're running something with 4 burners, generally you don't have to use all of that space on there. So 2 burners on, 2 burners off, hot, cold, use that top rack too. And charcoal, like you just saw today, you get a hot side, you get a cool side, and it's that easy. If you like watching these videos, please like, subscribe, and we'll see you soon. Thanks for tuning in.